Okay,
Right.
so moving on from the Nope trailer, going to discuss Doctor Strange, the second trailer for
Oh yeah.
the Multiverse of Madness. Um, so in this trailer, you see a lot more. You see a lot more of Wanda. You see a lot more kind of maybe some different variants of different people. Maybe a quick shot of, I think that was Monica Rambeau, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe her mother, Marie Rambeau. Um,
Let me pull the trailer back up on my
I
end
have the trailer
here.
playing on
Oh, do you?
stream. Yeah, I'm scrolling. I'm skimming through the trailer right now. I'm trying to find the shot. Um, but yeah, so you kind of see a lot more stuff here of what's kind of be going on. A lot more destruction. The big thing in the trailer, obviously, is you see Doctor Strange being kind of handcuffed, and you see kind of like some Ultron-looking robots. He's being carried into a room.
Yeah.
You see some chairs, and then you hear kind of one of the most iconic voices of any actor, Patrick Stewart, in this. And obviously, Patrick Stewart, who played Charles Xavier for a number of years in the X-Men films. I mean, of course, I mean, you want to hear that voice, you already know who it is. I mean, Patrick Stewart has an incredibly recognizable voice. I mean, he's white Morgan Freeman. I mean, come on. I mean, you already know who's going to be. Uh,
That's a good comparison, actually.
Yeah. So it just with him kind of coming on with his voice, it kind of to me proves that the leaks were right. So I've been seeing leaks against my will. I just been scrolling and then seeing all these
Yeah.
kind of leaks about the stuff. And I get it's hard to kind of keep a lot of this stuff under wraps because so many people, want to know what's going to happen. It's like No Way Home. Like, you know what I mean? Even though I think No Way Home was a little bit more obvious because I mean, obviously, why would you bring the villains back if you're not going to bring the other Spider-Man back?
Yeah.
That's kind
But
of
but
more
this,
obvious.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how much do you want me to break this down? Because there's a shocking amount that's actually probably or potentially happening here. Because the robots, them looking like Ultron, I do not think is an accident. I
Of
think that is
course.
a very yeah. I think that is a very. I think there's very much a reason for that. But the big thing, as far as the chairs that you see, um, they could be setting up the Illuminati in
Yep.
the MCU. So that's immediately what I thought. So considering they already have Xavier there, that's one. He's usually kind of one of the prime members. Reed Richards is another one. So I'm not saying they're gonna debut Reed Richards here, but
So, have you heard the leaks or no?
so I heard about the potential Iron Man one. That's like the big one I heard, and I
Okay.
heard there's one other one that I heard that I went that's interesting. So I've heard stuff here and there, but
I've
yeah, like
okay. So people listen. If you don't want to hear it, you could just mute us. I'm gonna just talk about it just for a little bit. But these are leaks, quote unquote. This is what some people are saying, rumors. Some stuff that's out there in the sphere or whatever. So the leaks are the rumors are is that like Hunter was saying the chairs you see all that stuff is that they're gonna do like he's gonna step into a universe where there's the Marvel Illuminati. If you don't know the Marvel Illuminati, it's basically it's like a secret group of all these different major superheroes from all who represent all the major kind of things in the world. So you have Charles Xavier who represents the mutants. You have Sub Namor who represents the Atlantic. You have Doctor Strange who's typically on the Illuminati to represent the magic world. You have T'Challa who represents Wakanda, which is one of the most largest, richest nations. You also have Iron
Reed
Man
Richards.
and Reed Richards, and then the big thing is they said Reed Richards will be on the part of the Illuminati in this movie, and it's going to be John Krasinski, and that also
Yeah,
Iron Man is going to be there, and then but it's not going to be Robert Downey Jr. It's this other variant of Iron Man is going to be Tom Cruise because at one
yeah.
time Tom Cruise was going to be tapped to be Iron Man way back in like the 90s or early 2000s. There was rumors about him being Iron Man or going to possibly play Iron Man. There were some set photos that were out there, but those looked really photoshopped like crazy to me. Like those look really bad. I was like, I don't think that looks really there. I don't think
Yeah.
that's there, but and then also there was also a situation where people said like James McAvoy because there was a photo of him with his head shaved. So there was some rumors that he would also
Interesting.
come back, and then also somebody pointed out with Sophie Turner who played Jean Grey in the X-Men movies, that they saw her with like her hair more dyed red. So they were also speculating that maybe she was going to
Mm.
come back as well. So
Okay.
that's kind of the big kind of things kind of going on here with it, and everything like that. And I guess Marvel just doesn't care because they were like, listen, you're gonna see this regardless. So we don't really give a shit if it's spoiled.
Yeah, they really don't care. Like at this point, Marvel could be like, "Hey, there's a broom starring in our next movie," and people would go see it. Like they're at that point where they would have to fuck up a lot for people to not support
Oh,
the brand. And
this is the shot I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but this is the like there's somebody who comes out and attacks Wanda, like, and I think it's either Monica or maybe Marie Rambeau here. Like you know,
so,
do you see
God,
that?
that shot. Yeah, yeah. So it's funny. I had someone ask me if they thought. So I think that's the variant of Iron Man because typically the superior Iron Man has his face exposed and kind of the gauntlet that he has around his face that looks similar in the face. The other thing is it maybe Human Torch? Like there's a world where
I don't know. I mean, I kind of at first looking at it, I was like, when it went by so fast, I was like, oh, maybe it's Human Torch. But I was like looking at it, I was like, I don't know. It seems like more like Marie Rambeau because she's kind of got the short hair. Kind of, if you look close, it kind of seems like she's got the short hair, like how she had there. Let me go back to it real quick. It kind of looks like her a little bit. It looks like kind of a maybe a woman. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of because it's so all this energy that that the person is wrapped in. It's kind of hard to make out what it is. And then
yeah,
there's that line with Wanda talking to Doctor Strange. Uh,
which should terrify everyone. I told y'all this bitch was gonna destroy reality, and everyone's like, "That's mean." No, she's gonna destroy reality.
yeah.
Like read House of M.
Do you
This is
remember what
not
she
good for
exactly
anyone.
said? Do you remember exactly what she said?
Yeah, no more. Or talking about the trailer,
Yeah.
or well, she goes. You change, you alter and mess with time, and you're a hero, and I do it and I'm vilified. And the way she says that doesn't seem fair, I went, or that doesn't seem right. I went, oh, that's something a villain would say. We
Oh,
should all be very concerned. And
you know.
yeah,
So yeah,
good.
the quote was, "You break the rules and become the hero. I do it. I become the enemy. That doesn't seem fair." Well, I mean, it reminds me of that meme that popped up in the first trailer where he's talking to Doctor Strange, where she's talking to him and goes like, "Oh yeah, I know you. Are you here about West Point?" You know what I mean? And it was kind of the meme was, "Bitch, you went crazy," but I'm not here about that.
Yeah,
I'm here
yeah.
about something else. It's like, I mean, because when you really look at WandaVision, it was like you were the villain of that story here. I mean, you entrapped these people in prison
Oh,
basically
yeah.
in your own little fantasy to play games, to play like a little dollhouse, and you kind of yeah. I mean, it's like come on now. I mean, like Doctor Strange has never done anything like that. You know what I mean? Maybe in another universe, maybe, but not in this universe that we saw.
Y- yeah, so here's the thing. Like I will be the first to admit, like, yes, did Wanda absolutely fuck up? Absolutely she did by keeping all those people from Westview, under her spell and everything. But I would like to point out that it was that evil white man who was working for Shield who pushed her to a psychotic break. So yes, does she take some blame? Absolutely, but also blame that fucker. This is all her. That's what's scary because at the end of WandaVision, that mid-credit scene, we see her reading from the Darkhold, trying to
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and get her kids back, and you hear like their voices, and even fucking Agatha was like, "Bitch, you're messing with things that you're not privy to that you're not aware of, and she kind of just shrugs it off. And that's why I think we could very easily get a House of M moment at the end of this movie. Like, because at some point, in theory, the multiverse will be closed, kind of similar to the Ultimate Universe being, bridged into the main canon. At some point, we'll get there. But for now, it just seems like it feels like this is exactly what King the Conqueror wants. Like, King is just sitting back, like, oh, awesome. I thought I had to fuck with a bunch of stuff. Oh, no, Wanda's gonna do it? Cool. Like, this all just seems so bad, but in the best way, because the possibilities are literally limitless considering what they're doing with the multiverse right now.
Yeah. How big of a role do you think America Chavez has in this? Do you think she has a pretty hugely significant role here?
I think she's gonna have a pretty significant role because this is just another step towards Young Avengers.
Yeah.
So I feel like she'll have a pretty I think she'll have a pretty substantial role. I'm happy she's in this period. Like when I heard that she was debuting here, I was like, oh shit, okay, that's awesome. But from just the fact we've seen her in a couple different scenes, I think she'll be pretty prominent, personally.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I mean, because it makes sense because her power is to travel through multi dimensions. So yeah, it makes sense that she would really be heavily prominent in here. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I would. It's like with the No Way Home stuff. It's like yeah, I mean, it just kind of made sense that I mean, I already kind of figured like you bring the villains back. Why would you bring the villains if you're not going to bring the other Spider-Man back? But this stuff with the Marvel Illuminati, and then with all this other stuff of all these maybe these other characters possibly going to show up and all these details, it's like, well, I mean, I guess the leakers were right then. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like I guess they were right, and I guess
Yeah.
their information's kind of on point because they just they didn't even try to keep that a secret all that much. It's like fuck it, okay, fine. Patrick Stewart is in it. Okay, here we go. Fine, fuck it.
Right. Like
Yeah,
shut up. Fine. Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I think we get Hugh. I think we get Hugh Jackman. By the way, I'm calling that shit right now. I think even if it's just for a minute, I think we get a wolf. I think we get a Wolverine variant at some point in this.
And it's gonna
Like
be Hugh Jackman.
even if it, I think it's gonna be Hugh Jackman. I'm calling that shit right now. I'm shooting my shot. I think he's in it.
That's the thing. So with this, it's like the fear of like what No Way Home is. It's like, listen, I like No Way Home. Think it's a good movie. I had a lot of fun with it, but it was a movie carried by it was nostalgia, and it was like, hey, it's like, hey, we got the three Spider Man, and we're gonna have them all interact, which was cool and was fun, and yeah, but it was like if the fact that people love this, it just kind of it's like studios will go like, okay, but we got to do that again. We got to recreate that moment again because we want another $2 billion movie, and we wanted to break the record again. And so with this, it's like they're going like, okay, well, what's another way to do that? Oh yeah, let's bring in people like the X-Men movies, and people love Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier, so let's bring him back. And even though I thought he had a good send off in Logan, and I thought Hugh Jackman as Wolverine had a perfect send off in Logan, so I was like, I don't really want to see Charles Xavier back. I don't really want to see Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier or Hugh Jackman back. Like they had their movies, for a long time. They played those characters for over a decade. I mean, they were the pretty bunch. I think don't they
Yeah.
have the record for playing a superhero character the
Yeah.
longest? Like they played them
They
ever
do.
since 2000. So it's like you know what I mean. It's like okay, they had their time. It's fine with Toby and Andrew. It's like well, Andrew never had a third movie, and his series ended kind of unceremoniously. And then Tobey Maguire, it's like okay, they messed up his third movie. Even though I don't hate Spider-Man 3, it's not even the worst Spider-Man movie anymore. That's Amazing Spider-Man 2. But
Correct.
so it's like okay, well I could see that, and then okay, and they were trying to do the Spider Verse thing, like which was already done in the cartoon already. So it's like okay, fine, but it's just like those characters they played them for so long. It's like I don't really need to see them back. Like even James McAvoy, if you brought him back as Charles Xavier, he played that character for such a long time. And so I mean I get he was in some bad ones like Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but you did have some good ones too. You had Days of Future Past, and you had First Class. So you did
Yeah.
have some good ones. Kind of, what are your thoughts on that?
So I think what they're gonna do, because we've got Miss Marvel coming up, I think they're gonna use the Multiverse of Madness to go ahead and just introduce the X gene overall, because I think what they're going to do, instead of making Kamala Khan an Inhuman, I think they're going to make her a mutant, because that's just easier. You can just go, she's a mutant, shut up. And I think that's going to be kind of the function of the X-Men in this, outside of the Illuminati, to go ahead, because even in Eternals, they go and talk about kind of that gene. They don't call it the X gene, but they talk about that God gene, or I believe is what they call it in Eternals. But they're clearly setting up to go ahead and go, hey, X-Men have been around, or mutants have been around for millions of years or thousands, whatever. I think that's why we're getting the X-Men now, because even if we get just a 2 minute, hey, we're the Illuminati, we've been monitoring, the Eternals, we've been monitoring this, we've been monitoring that, X gene exists. You can cut it there and then go ahead and say, oh, there are young variants of, a core X-Men team. Like, you could do a young Cyclops, young Jean Grey, recast them with different actors, and then go ahead, and that's your basis for a new X-Men franchise, which I think is exactly what they're going to do, or at least set up the pieces for at worst. So I think that's why they're bringing them back, and I think at this point they're just trying to go ahead and consolidate as much as the insanity timelines as they possibly can, while admittedly playing off nostalgia. But I think they can do both. So
Yeah.
I think that's the main purpose as far as why they're bringing everything in.
But how much nostalgia is with some of these? Because not all these actors were beloved, in the roles that they played. Because, like, yeah, Patrick
Sure.
Stewart, Hugh Jackman, yes. Even, I guess, James McAvoy, I think he did a good job and people like him.
Yeah.
But, like I said, after a while, those movies got pretty bad. And it's
Yeah.
like Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. I like Sophie Turner. I think she's a good actress. I just think the movies she was in were bad. I think that, because she was in Dark Phoenix, she was in Apocalypse. I think she could make a good Jean Grey, but I don't think anybody goes like, man, I really love Sophie Turner's Jean Grey. You can't, it's hard to see anyone else playing Jean Grey. It's like, I think you can get somebody else that can be Jean Grey. Are you going to bring back, you already kind of blew your wad with Evan Peters as Quicksilver. You can't really do that again. So
Yeah.
he's off. Are you going to try to do Michael Fassbender? Are you going to try to do, what was the Tyler Sheridan, who's played Cyclops?
Sheridan. Yeah.
I
Well,
don't think
if
he
he
was that great as Cyclops. I don't think he's that beloved.
he
So
no,
so it's like, okay, so it's like, are you just gonna pick and choose like that?
I think that's exactly what they're going to do. It's because if you notice in the trailer, Xavier says, we like, should we tell them who we are, or something to that effect. So I think he's talking to Magneto. I think he's talking to McKellen personally, or he's talking to a version of Magneto. I would almost bet it's McKellen, because I'm sure he's like, sure, why not? I have to sit in the chair.
Right.
But I think that's exactly what they're doing. I think they're going to go ahead, and even if they're cutting off a couple timelines, the variants that will be remaining, or the ones that are teased, are going to be the ones that set up this new X-Men film moving forward. I think they're, because they went through and they did what, two, like a month and a half of reshoots or something like that. So I think that this is being very meticulously done to go ahead and set up your Fantastic Four team, go ahead and introduce the X gene, and that might be all they do. But I think there's going to be a lot of pieces set up, because keep in mind, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania next year, which is going to delve even more into the quantum realm, which really could lend itself to even more cameos if they wanted to go that route. So
Yeah.
I think they're really setting up a lot of pieces at play for Kane to go ahead and kind of fuck shit up. I think
Yeah.
that's really going to be one of the main functions.
Yeah. I just don't want it to be, because I like Sam Raimi coming back, doing another movie again, or just doing just not even a superhero movie, just doing a movie. Period. Because it's been since
Same.
Oz the Great and Powerful since he's done his last movie.
Yes, that was what, 2013,
2015. So
2015. Damn. Okay.
it's been a while. So I really like Sam Raimi. I would love to see him play around with this stuff. I just don't want it to be like, hey, but we got to throw this character in here. We got to throw this character in here, and it's just Easter egg the movie, and it's just like, oh, let's bring all these classic characters back, and people can just cheer and just. We don't really have to actually make a good movie. We just have to just carry it off of nostalgia because that's kind of what No Way Home was. I mean, I think it's still a good story, No Way Home, and they worked it into it well and everything like that. But a lot of it is like the villains of it. It's like I remember this villain from Spider-Man, the first with Tobey Maguire, and I remember this villain from
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2, and you know what I mean, and it's kind of carried on that, and even though I did like it and did enjoy it, so I don't want it to be like Doctor Strange is being his whole movie's being taken away because of the cameos, because of all the extra characters and all this other stuff, and a chance for Sam Raimi to really play around with the magic and the monsters because we know he's good at the horror stuff and he's good at the action comedy stuff and do you feel like from this trailer like Sam Raimi's DNA feels on it?
Yes, because like, so I got stoned as hell going to the first Doctor Strange. I will not be doing that with this one because it looks like they're leaning more into the horror. Even that shot of Strange going through the mirror dimension and seeing that shatter and seeing his face, like I was like, oh no, okay, yep, no, no edibles before this movie. It looks like Raimi's fingerprints are definitely on it as far as leaning to the horror. Because I mean, we get that evil version, of Strange, which is from What If. The fact that's appearing in live action, it really does feel like, especially with Shuma Garath. I mean, they're leaning into the horror elements of this, and I just don't see a way that this film. How do I put this? I don't see a way that where this film ends happy.
Mm,
I think it'll be more akin to a No Way Home ending where the movie ends, but maybe we're kind of left with, all right, here's kind of where we're going, but you probably won't be thrilled about it. Not like because it'll suck, but just because it's gonna be things are gonna get darker. Like I think Wanda could easily break the multiverse by the time this movie is over because you pointed out in WandaVision she doesn't know how strong she is yet, and she's coming into this movie stronger, which again is bad. That's very fucking bad, and so the whole notion that she could just break everything. I mean, she did it with a town. It's
mm.
really not a stretch to say that she could easily go ahead and break a dimension or two, or if not everything.
Yeah,
Because yeah,
I wouldn't mind seeing her as the villain. I wouldn't mind. I would like that a lot. I would welcome that. Seeing her kind of turn into a villain and seeing this friend turn foe and to see them someone who is as powerful as she is. Because like Agatha said, she's on par with even more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. Actually, not even on par. She can surpass the Sorcerer Supreme. That is Doctor
yes,
Strange. But yeah, and like you said, with the American Chavez character, I mean, they're setting up the Young Avengers. I mean, Marvel. I mean,
yeah,
they with all the Disney Plus shows, they've introduced all the Young Avengers already. So
yeah, basically, yeah, they're all
so
there.
I mean, they're smart. I mean, they're really smart. I mean, they got the shit planned out. So they're like, yep, we're ready. You old geezers can get out of here. We already got the new crop of young people coming in.
Oh,
Um,
that's a thing. Yeah, watch Fast and Furious will start doing this like on the next movie. It'll be like, oh man, Dom can't fit into that tank top anymore. Oh well, thank God. I don't know who's Bad Bunny. Thank God he's around.
yeah.
like they're gonna start swapping out the quote old for the new. I mean, this is how, just like in comics, that this is how it goes. But
Yeah.
don't. The term chaos magic exists in the MCU. It's not called happy magic. Like Wanda's gonna fuck things up. It's just a matter of to what degree she's going to. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, May can't come soon enough. I'm hyped for this.
Me too. Me too.